again because I'm in such shame. So it was like this vicious cycle. So I do understand that. It really took for me. So my divorce was really the catalyst to why I became obsessed in a healthy way with working out. I realized during my marriage that I ate so much and I would eat my feelings and I
People were surprised that Khloé, your ex-wife, is one of like the main people in the doc. How did that come about?
I don't know. You would have to ask them.
Oh, Netflix took care of it.
Yeah, because my last time being around her, it was like the only thing I compare it to is like being in detention with the principal. One-on-one. But it takes time for us to heal because, it seems like it just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
She did not cry. That is the part nobody talks about. When Khloé Kardashian walked through that door and found Lamar Odom, the man she had married in a whirlwind 30-day romance and loved with a ferocity that made the whole world either swoon or roll its eyes, crouched over a pipe with crack cocaine burning at his lips, she did not dissolve into tears or back quietly out of the room. She punched him in the face. A real punch. The kind that comes from somewhere so deep inside a person it bypasses all rational thought, all the years of therapy, all the carefully worded conversations about boundaries and second chances. It was pure, animal reaction to a betrayal so profound that her body answered before her brain could form a single word. She revealed this on a recent episode of The Kardashians, and the moment landed like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples through every conversation about love, addiction, and the impossible mathematics of trying to save someone who does not yet want to be saved. Khloé sat there on camera, composed in the way only someone who has already survived the unsurvivable can be composed, and she said it plainly. She walked in. She saw him. She swung. And just like that, one sentence dismantled every soft, romanticized narrative we had ever constructed around their relationship. Because we had constructed plenty. The world watched Khloé and Lamar Odom fall into each other in 2009 with the kind of speed that makes cynics nervous and romantics briefly believe in fate. He was an NBA champion, physically extraordinary, quiet in a way that seemed to hold depth. She was the Kardashian who everyone privately rooted for. The one who laughed loudest at herself. The one who absorbed comparisons to her sisters with a grace that must have cost her enormously. Together they seemed to make sense in some ineffable way. The wedding was fast. The love looked real. And for a while perhaps it was. What the cameras did not fully capture, what the glossy magazine covers and Kardashian holiday cards obscured, was what Khloé was living with behind closed doors. Lamar Odom's addiction did not announce itself all at once. It crept in through small lies, unexplained absences, the slow substitution of the man she knew with someone she was perpetually trying to recognize. She has spoken before about discovering his infidelities, about the humiliation of those revelations becoming public, about the strange guilt that attaches itself to the partners of addicts who spend years wondering what they could have done differently. But the detail about the punch is new, and it is important because it is honest in a way that polished retrospectives rarely are. There is something culturally significant about a woman like Khloé Kardashian admitting she hit someone, not because violence is something to celebrate, but because it collapses the carefully maintained image of the stoic, long-suffering partner who absorbs everything with dignity. It says, "I was a human being in an unbearable moment, and my humanity showed its teeth." It removes her from the pedestal of the saintly, forgiving wife and places her exactly where she belongs, in the complicated, messy, agonizing middle of a real relationship fracturing in real time. Lamar Odom, for his part, has told his own version of these years. His 2019 memoir was unflinching about his addictions, his infidelities, the overdose in 2015 at a Nevada brothel that left him in a coma and resulted in Khloé, despite their ongoing divorce proceedings, rushing to his side and making medical decisions on his behalf. That act alone says something about the nature of what they were to each other. You do not fly to the bedside of someone you simply used to love. You do not pause a divorce to hold someone's hand through brain damage and organ failure, unless the love was real, complicated, and entirely too large to fit inside any legal document. She stayed. She held on. And then she let go, the way you eventually have to let go of something that is pulling you under along with it. The divorce was finalized in 2016. Life moved on as it insists on doing. Khloé had a daughter, True, with Tristan Thompson, a relationship that came with its own spectacular, public heartbreaks. And yet the Lamar chapter never fully closed, because it had been too formative, too seismic, too genuinely loving in its origin to simply file away and forget. What this revelation does, arriving years after the fact with the strange clarity that distance provides, is reframe the entire story. We thought we knew it. Reality television had given us unprecedented access, or so we believed. We had seen the tears, the conversations, the carefully lit confessionals. But the image of Khloé throwing a punch in a moment of shattered disbelief tells us something that cameras, even cameras trained on a family that invented modern personal transparency, cannot always catch. It tells us that some moments are so private, so violently human, that they exist outside the frame entirely. Addiction steals people incrementally, then suddenly, and those left in its wake are not just grieving a person but grieving the future they had mapped out, the family they had imagined, the version of themselves that existed before they knew what it felt like to love someone drowning. Khloé Kardashian has more money, more fame, and more platform than most people who survive similar stories. But the punch she threw in that room was not a celebrity's punch. It was a wife's punch. A woman's punch. The punch of someone who had given everything and found, in one nauseating moment, exactly where it had all gone. She did not cry. She punched him in the face. And somehow that is both the saddest and the most honest thing she has ever said.